Welcome to the Candybox intervention. The Candybox intervention is an idea that I took away from an exhibition. So it's actually a piece of art that we transformed to do as an exercise in the real classroom. And I would like to guide you through 3 stages of the Candybox intervention. So we have the actual intervention, we have dealing with the situation, and then the aftermath and how to get out of it again. So let's start with the intervention. Usually you have a class of a couple of students, let's say 20 to 25 students. It can be more, it can be a little bit less, but usually if you have 20, 25, even 40, it is quite a nice intervention. These are the students who are in the classroom, but you also have students who are not there at the given time. And they will play a major role in the second and third part of the intervention. So what is the Candybox? The Candybox is an actual candy box that was placed by the artist in a room, and it said no underneath it. So you were allowed to get into the room without anybody seeing you. So the hidden part of it is quite important. And the idea was that there is some candy and you love candy and you can take the candy without anybody seeing you. And what is candy for students? Obviously, candy is points they can get in the exam. So this is something they really crave for. And now I'm offering them candy in the box, which means points that they can take, if they want to, in a hidden vote. And the voting is that they can tell me, anonymously, how many points they want. And the idea is that they can take 50, 10, or they can tell me, this is a crappy exercise, don't ever do this to me, because it is not fair to take 50 points, to take candy out of the box without having done anything for it. So that's the idea. They can get 50, 10, or 0. But the catch is, if you have 20, 25 students in the classroom, if more than 2 people take 50 points, then no one will get any points. So 0 points will be given to the class. So the most convenient thing to do would be for everyone to take just 10 points, which would be 2 grade jumps in the German university grading system. And that would eliminate the fear to get 0 points. So they can take the candy based on the decision and they will get the points. Now you might say that this is a strange thing to do because they haven't worked for it. But the intervention is very interesting to start a discussion about several points. One element that you will see here is game theory. So should I choose 50 points? Which would be the risky thing, or should I go in the safe way and take 10, maybe losing, if I'm adventurous, 50 points, which would basically be passing the exam and actually getting a perfect grade. So game theory is one thing. Another thing I already raised that is ethics. So would it be okay to cheat the system just because the professor allows you to do that and opens this door? Some other things we're talking about are values, our trust in the group, our negotiation techniques. We are talking about authority. And the question how authority can shape the behavior in a group. We are also dealing with economic realities. And pressure, because the students are pressured to get a good grade usually. Some other topics like compliance and so on and so forth are also in that. And the important thing is, again, remember, you have to do the voting in a hidden space. So nobody will be disclosed who has chosen the 50, the 10, or the 0. So I usually put them under time pressure, so they have 2 minutes to decide. And then what happens is, we see a feeding frenzy. It's a little bit like piranhas that see that there is blood in the river. And this feeding frenzy leads to less thinking. So they just do something and suddenly they realize they have done their click, and then I'm asking them, what have you done? So what are we doing now? Because there is one very important group that we have not talked about. So we just exploited the system, and we're not talking about the results yet, but what happens to those who were absent from today? They had no choice to participate and get some sweets out of the candy box. So how are we going to deal with our fellow colleagues? And the question is, are you going to keep the secret? Which is obviously not a very good idea, because everyone will talk about it, and probably people already texted their friends what's going on. So keeping a secret doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't make any sense to have this skeleton in the closet together. So what they're dealing with is, the students who are still here, they're dealing with a very mild form of survivor's guilt. When they look into the mirror, they feel bad that they have taken the points and that their colleagues don't have the chance to get anything at all. So then topics like fairness come up, greed, and the general question, how do we deal with those who have less than we have? Would we be willing to share what we have? Would we be willing to share our wealth? I also try to give them an option to deal with their survivor's guilt, because obviously that's not a very nice thing to have. So let's move to the third phase to help them undoing their thing. And so one of the defenses, ego defenses or social defenses, is undoing. So what I'm offering them is, okay, you have earned your points. Now you feel guilty that you have exploited the system, that you have not taken care of your fellow friends who were not there. So I'm offering the following option. First, you can give back your points and I will put them into a pool. So I will pool these points. But unfortunately, I have given you this gift already, so I cannot take it back, because that would not be appropriate. So I'm giving you the choice whether you would like to give back your points or whether you would keep them. So I asked them, would you like to give your points back into the pool? Yes or no? The second thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute it evenly. So whatever is in the pool, I'm going to divide it by all the students in the class, and by the way, by all the students, so those of them of the students who are here and those who are not here, and divide it evenly. But you can also tell me, probably you have done this here already, I don't want to have to do anything to do with it. That's not fair. It's not an ethical, correct thing. It's against my values. So you can decide whether you want the points or not. So the options are, after I've pooled them and I will distribute them, first of all, would you like to give them back? Yes or no? And the second question is, would you like to have the additional points from the pool, yes or no? And you might have done the calculation already. If I have chosen 50 points, decided not to give them back, but decided to take points from the pool, I might be able to get even more points than the 50. And this is the Candybox intervention that raises a lot of questions that we have seen in the first part. It's very important to do this in an area where the students cannot see who has voted what. And very important that you be aware that a lot of things will move around the trust issue. And the trust issue is against you, trust with you as an authority, but also trust among the group of students. So better beware that you spend some time thinking about that and discussing that so that you can contain this intervention again. And I would suggest to do at least 90 minutes so that the end will be better than this one and you have not corrected. And that was the Candybox intervention.